Hey everybody, I'd like you to follow along with me. So log in to either your personal AWS account or the Sandbox if you still have credits. Pause if you need to for a moment while you do that. What I'd like to have you do right now is create a database in the cloud that you can connect to, and specifically this is of type RDS, so it's a relational database. So this could potentially be like MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, SQL Server, any of that stuff can be spun up here. However, today we'll do something that's MySQL compatible. All right, so one of the first things I want you to do is uh, let us just type in VPC, and for whatever region you're in, let's just kind of learn a little bit about what we have there. So right now I'm in the US East 2 zone, region, sorry, and I've been playing around in here, so I have a bunch of stuff, more than you most likely. So production and development was stuff that I made, and default is something that was there already. So 172.31 /16 is something that we will see in all of the zones. That's the default network range that they give us. And within that, we can create subnets. So this is kind of like if this was a farm, this is the overall fence around the farm, and then the individual stalls for the animals will be our subnets. So I'm going to click on subnet, and I want to, again, looking at the numbers over here, I can tell that these three subnets are related to the default VPC that is available there, and I can get a count of how many IP addresses are available to be assigned in each of those subnets. And if I were to click on one of these, remember a region has a certain number of availability zones or data centers within it. And if I look at this one, this is 2C. And if I look at this one, it's 2A. And if I look at this one, it's 2B. So there are three different data centers in the US East 2 zone that I could put stuff into. All right, I go over that because when we create a database, it has to sit in one or more of our subnets or one or more of our physical data centers if we're using the default subnets that are there. All right, with that, let me go and jump over to services, and I will type in RDS. And as I look at this screen here, I see database instances 0 out of 40. So, and a lot of times when we see some type of quota or something that we're allowed to do, usually this is a soft limit, meaning that if you need to do more than that, you can usually reach out to AWS and say, can you lift this cap for me? All right, but right now, let's go to create database. I don't want to give them feedback right now. I'm going to create a standard one. And for purposes of today, MySQL or MariaDB will work exactly the same. So either one of those is fine. And let us scroll down. It's asking how do you want the settings below to be set up. And for this one, I'm going to use the free tier. One of the differences of production would be, for example, I would want to put or have more than one database instance running. And so one could be the live one, and the other one could be a standby, or maybe others could be read-only. So that's one of the differences between maybe production and another option. The thing about free is that we're trying to keep our costs down for now, so we'll stick with that. All right, so here is where you're going to prove your worth. I want you to name your database with your name. So we'll give our instance. This is really the equivalent of just an EC2 instance that's going to be pre-configured for databases. So put your name in there so that you can take a screenshot of your work later on, and I know that you've done this. For today, I'll have us do two different follow-along things, and so this will, a little bit later, will be one of the places where I want you to do a screenshot. Okay, for the credentials, you can write your own password or have them auto-generate a password for you. I'm going to allow them to auto-generate a password. Okay, for the size, because I did the free tier, it's encouraging me to use the tiniest, smallest EC2 instance or equivalent of it that we can use. As I scroll down, solid state drives, 20 gigs of storage, but it can scale up to 1,000 gigs. Moving on down, we're not, all this stuff is grayed out because we're in the free tier and we don't want to be charged money. Scrolling down even farther, this is where we need to make a change. So where are we going to put our databases? Well, if the farm or the VPC, we want to put it in this general area, but in specifically where, let's look at that. We will leave it in that VPC, and I want this to be publicly accessible. So this is the one change that you need to make, or at least the most important one. And then another change I want to make is right here. We're going to say create a new security group. So the idea with, we'll just call this donut one. The deal with the security groups, those are like your firewalls that are attached to your EC2 instances. And so this one is just going to create one that allows inbound traffic on 3306. And it's also going to listen to your IP address that you're talking from right now, or your home IP address, and it's going to poke a hole for 3306 from your IP address in there. Availability zone, no preference, but because of the VPC that we've picked, which is in the US East 2, it's going to give me those three options. It's probably going to throw it into A. Okay, I don't need to change anything else, so let me go ahead and click Create Database. Now this is going to take about 10 minutes. So first it's going to say creating, and then it's going to say creating a backup. So once all that's done and it says something like status ready or something along those lines and it's all green, then you're good to go. So I'm going to stop for now because this is going to take about 10 minutes. That being said, whether it's right now or 10 minutes from now, right here it says view credential details. If I click on this, this is because of the way I created the password, this is the one and the only time that I'm going to get the password for my MySQL database. So I'm going to click copy, and I'm going to save that off to some document somewhere else so that I can use it later. All right, so I'll continue this video in about 10 minutes.